Hi there, it's Paul in Perth here today, and I'm going to do probably my most advanced video that I've ever done on the channel. It's to do with airbag control modules. So when airbags go off, and as you can see in this car here, I've cut it out, but the airbags in this car have actually gone off. There's data that gets written to the airbag control module, and unless you clear that data out, you'll never be able to use that airbag control module again. So I'm going to show you one method to do it today. I'm into my electronics, so I've got some EEPROM readers, and I'm going to show you how to do it with EEPROM readers. If you've got one of those really high-end tools, you'll be able to do it, or if you take it to the dealer, you'll be able to do it. I'm going to show you how to do it if maybe you're an electronics hobbyist. So the first thing you're going to need is to get the airbag control module out of your BL Mazda 3. So it's located in the center console next to the handbrake. So if you open the lid up there, grab the cup holder and pull up, you'll find that the cup holder comes out. And then if you look straight down next to the handbrake, under the Velcro tab, you'll find there's an airbag control module. These will be connected. I've disconnected them on mine, but yours will be there, and you'll find that it's held on with three 10mm bolts. I've just loosely put one in, so you'll find 3 of those. So when you've taken out those 3 bolts, and when you've taken out those 2 connectors, you'll be able to remove the module. You'll notice this one here is a BCF1 57K30. I've wrecked a fair few BL Mazda 3s, and there's actually 4 models of airbag control module. So after this cut, we're going to be inside, and I'm going to show you the 4 different versions of this that you might have for a BL Mazda 3. All right, we'll cut to inside now. Okay, so here we are out of the car, and I've been wrecking BL Mazda 3s for about a year now, and I've come across 4 different airbag control modules. I don't know whether this is the full set, but these are the ones that I've come across. So the one that I took out of that car that I was with earlier, that was a BCF1 57K30, but I've also come across BFD1 57K30, B39 57K30, and BFB6 57K30. So I'm aware of at least 4, and as you can see, some of them have completely different connector types. This one, if you'll remember in the car, only 2 of these plugs were populated. That particular car there doesn't have curtain airbags. So my guess is that without curtain airbags, you have 2 activated. When you do have curtain airbags, you'll have 3 activated. So let's go inside and have a look at what is actually in here, where the EEPROM chip is. What you'll need is a T10. So with a T10, you just undo these, in this case, it's 4 screws. And get out the printed circuit board, the PCB. Now, from experience, and because I've got a little bit of a background in electronics, I know that there's only one EEPROM chip on this, and it's that one there. I'm about to show you in a graphic in just a couple of seconds what it is, but that there is a 95 640W chip, and that is the EEPROM chip. So the crash data for this particular module is stored in that chip. So what I'll do is I'll now cut away to some graphics I've got where I'll show you the EEPROM chip in all 4 of these, and then after that I'll be up in my electronics station and we'll show you how to read that chip. Okay, we'll be back soon. This is a close-up of that chip. So what I want you to notice here is firstly that's the 95 640W chip there, and with the writing facing upwards, so you can read it in a normal position, pin 1 is in the lower left position. So what I'll do now is I'll cut to each of the 4 different types and show you where that chip is and where pin 1 is on each of the different boards. So here's the BCF1 board. As you can see, this is the one I was holding in my hand in the earlier clip. And this is the one that I'm going to be using all through this video. So this is my reference board. Just take note to see there where pin 1 is.
Next over is the B39G. This, I didn't realise until I made this video, but it's actually the same layout as the BCF1. So pin 1 is same chip, same pin 1 position. Next one is the BFD1. It's a complete different layout to the previous two, but that's where pin 1 is there. And lastly is the BFB6, which has a completely different set of pin connectors, and that's where pin 1 is there.
Hi there. Okay, I'm now up in my electronics workstation, which is actually the loft of my house. This is the board that we were looking at earlier, and you might remember that that's the 95640W chip there, and pin 1 is down there. Now I'm going to assume that a lot of the people watching this video are brand new to electronics, so a lot of the stuff I'm going to be showing you now is brand new knowledge for you. So I'm going to step you through it relatively slowly, but you are going to have to do your own research to master this. So let's talk about some of the equipment I've got. This here is just a standard laptop. It wouldn't matter whether it was Windows 10, Windows 11. I believe you can also do this with Mac. And I've got what's called an EEPROM reader. This is a 40-pin ZIF socket EEPROM reader. You can see there are actually 40 pins there, and I'm using the bottom 8. ZIF stands for zero insertion force, so you'll notice that I literally need zero insertion force to push the pins in, as opposed to something where you would actually have to push it in. And I've got 8 DuPont connectors coming off that, going to a Pomona 5250 8-pin chip clip. The other equipment I've got, which comes in really handy, and if you're going to do electronics, I strongly advise you to get, is a 10 times loop. A loop is basically a magnifying glass. So for example, if I was trying to look at that chip and read it and see what it was, by putting the loop on it, it's basically a little magnifying glass. These cost about $10 on eBay, and they make your life a lot easier, particularly for people like me that don't have very good up-close eyesight. So 10 times loop. Now you'll notice with this EEPROM reader that the brand is GQ. This is a GQ-4x4, and you need some software to run that hardware. So on my Windows laptop, I've got this program here which is called GQ USB Prog, and that's the software that talks to this piece of hardware. So in order to read this EEPROM, and you'll remember earlier in the video we talked about where pin 1 was, and if you remember, with the writing upright, pin 1 was in the bottom left corner. Now if you look on the software, so you might have to come a bit closer, can you see this from here? The 40 pins on this GQ go from pin 1 here through to pin 40 there, but when you're using an 8-pin socket, it's saying to use the bottom 8 pins, so in fact pin 17 acts as pin 1. And you'll notice here I've put it in the bottom 8, so my pseudo pin 1 is actually that one there, which is yellow. Okay, can you see there, that one is yellow? So what I need to do is I need to come over to here and line up pin 1 on the chip with pin 1 on my Pomona 5250, and make sure none of my 8 come off. Now there's a trick to this. If you just try and grab it with the jaws, you're going to find it clicks off. So I'll try and do this slowly and easily for you, and I'll try and do it without that bit of shadow there. What you do is you put one edge up against it. Can you see how one edge is on? I'm pushing that way. If you put one edge on, you'll find that you can gently ease the other edge on and it'll grab. Okay, so all those 8 pins hopefully are now connected. We're going to find out because we're going to read the chip, and I'm either going to get a good read or a bad read. And you'll notice that yellow is on pin 1 there and yellow is on pin 1 there. So come over to here and let's go really slowly through the software. So from just opening the software, I've opened it up. You'll see when it first opens, at the moment it says no device selected, but it's about to default to the last device I had, which is an M95640W, which is the exact chip I want. Just for completeness, let's pretend that it came up with the wrong chip. So I'm just going to change it to a wrong chip just to show you how to get it right. So this is just a random chip. The way you'd get the right chip is to go device, device list, and then type in 95640W, and you can see there's only one chipset that has that, and I'd select it, okay? And it's now uploading that firmware, and it's now saying my device is an M95640. I've got all of my pins connected up, so if I click R for read, it will hopefully, when I click on buffer, okay, it's come up as all Fs, which means it's had a bad read. So one of my pins is not correctly making contact. So let's just make sure all the pins are on. Okay, that one there is a little bit loose, so that was probably the one there that wasn't quite connected. And I'll take that off and I'll reconnect that. Okay, that feels firm. And when I click read, okay, I've got a good read this time. So that's just to show you that this is actually a little bit kludgy. I'm dealing with cables that are just on. That female DuPont connector is just sitting on top of a pin. If it gets loose or pulls slightly off, you'll get a bad read. And you only need one of the 8 on one of the ends to be wrong, and it won't read. But you can see, as long as you know what you're doing, you know this should work, you will get it right. So come over closer and let's have a look at what we've got. On the left-hand side, this is all hexadecimal. So that's really hard for a human to read. But on the right, you've got it in ASCII format. Now, you know when you've definitely got a good read when you can find the VIN number of the car. So this is the back plate of that airbag control module I took off, and you'll notice that the VIN ends in 108593, and you can see there 108593. That's actually the VIN of the vehicle there. And if we go down a bit, you'll even find BCF1. And if you remember, BCF1 is the model of the airbag control module that we're looking at. So we have definitely correctly read it. Now, the first thing I want you to always do whenever you read an EEPROM is immediately make a copy of it. Because if you muck something up, you need to be able to copy the original data back onto it so that you've got a stable starting point. So the very, very first thing I'm going to do is go File, Save As, and I've got a naming convention where I go the date as year, month, day. So today's the 22nd of April. So 2023-0422 is today's date. It's a BCF1 57K30 with a 95640W chip, and it is crashed. So I'm going to click Save. Okay, so I've now saved that EEPROM file's data. So if I muck this up, I've got a restore point I can go back to. Now I want to talk to you about what I do next. I want to make it clear at this point, I'm not sponsored by anyone. So I'm about to show you Prog, and I'm going to show you Web Octopus and Diff Now. I want to promise you I'm not paid by any of these people. And if you have a different place that you use, it's cool with me, okay? This is just the one that I use. So Prog, which is just carprogonline.com, on their airbag page, you can type in the type of your airbag. So if you remember, mine was a BCF1 57K30, and when I search for that, it says, yep, I know about that airbag. That's in a Mazda 3, and that has a 95640 chip. So I select that one, and it says, all right, upload your binary file to me. So I'm going to click on Browse. I'm going to go to the one that I just saved. So there's today's date, the 22nd of April, crashed. I'm going to select that, and I'm going to say Analyze. And the website says, crash found. I've found the crash. I know where the crash is. Now, at this point, what the software wants you to do is for €10, pay them €10, and then they'll give you a download link to your binary file with the crash removed that you can then write back into the EEPROM chip. But here's a trick, and this will prove to you that I'm not paid by Prog. Once you've done it once, you can work out what part of the file you need to clear out, and you never have to pay them again for that chip. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So this is where I use a program called Diff Now. So what it is a file comparison tool. So on the file upload tab, and just give me a second because I set this up beforehand. This will be the last one. Right, this is one I did earlier. So if I put the crashed file first and put the cleared file by CarProg Online on the second one and click compare and wait for it to do its thing, and then I scroll down, I can actually see the part of the file that was cleared by CarProg. So I can see here in the crashed file, I had data and that section, and here they put it to all Fs. And down here, there was this, in the crashed file, there was this data here, and in the uncrashed file, they again changed it all to Fs. They're showing it as a combination of yellow and red, which means changed and added. That's only because the program is getting a bit confused because it's seeing all of these Fs in the wrong place and it thinks old Fs and new Fs. Trust me, when you get in there and work it out, you'll realise the sections of the file that have been changed to F. So that's how you use Diff Now, so that you only have to use CarProg once for any given type of airbag control module. I want to give you a warning though, because I did get it wrong once. I did this method and then I cleared a friend's airbag control module, and when I put it in their car, it didn't work. And I eventually worked out that what had happened was the original crash that I'd cleared was a front airbag crash. So the front airbags had gone off and it had written front airbag data. This person was fixing a side airbag crash and it had written data to a different part of the file. So if you use this method and you find it doesn't work, basically restore back to the data you had at the very start, because remember, you did take that back up because I told you to, and then just pay the €10 to CarProg Online, and you'll find that it'll add a few extra bits of the file that I haven't worked out. Okay. I know you're all dying to know what parts are they. So yes, I am going to tell you because what the hell. So just so you know, if you want to come a bit closer, what I've found is for the B39G and the BCF1, you need to write Fs from hexadecimal 05F0 to 05FF and 07D8 to 12FF. That's the same for the B39G and the BCF1. The BF96, I've never cleared one, so I actually don't know what it needs. The BFD1 needs to be cleared from 0744 to 0773 and 0842 to 086F. But I want to repeat to you, those might be wrong. It is at least those. If yours is, I think mine were all, I think they were all front airbag crashes. So if yours was a side airbag crash, you might find that it doesn't work and you need to pay that €10 to CarProg Online. You'll work it out. If you've made it this far, you're going to be able to work that out, okay? So let's go back to the GQ Online program, because now we know, so let me put that up there. Okay, so 05FF to 05F0 to 05FF needs to be changed to zeros. So if I go down to 050, which is there, all of that line needs to be turned into Fs, and further down, there's another section. Now, I could do it manually, but as you've noticed in this file here, I've actually written it into a little script. So what I'm actually going to do is, in here, I'm going to go File, Open Script, and I've written a program called BCF1 Clear Crash Data, which I'm going to load. And as you can see, it's everything that I just showed you in that notepad file. The way this program works is you put a semicolon at the start of the line to comment it out. So mine's a BCF1, so I need the 05F0 bit. So that's that. So I need that line active. I need that line active. I don't want those two lines active because those are for the BFD1, but I do want to write it to the EEPROM chip, and I do want to verify it. So basically the only 4 lines it's going to run are, it's going to fill it with Fs and it's going to write it and verify it. Now, just to show you it running, I'll see whether this works. 05FF. Okay, see that line there? 05, yeah, that is it. When I click run, you're going to see that line all turn into Fs. So you ready? I'm going to click, see here the run button. So that's going to run the script, and you should see that line go to F, and further down out of screen there'll be another one that goes to Fs. So, okay, it happened too quick. Can you see that line has now all gone to Fs? It just happened really fast. See, that 05 is all Fs. It is now writing it to the EEPROM. So what is happening now, and this is exactly like when you update the BIOS on your computer. This is effectively a BIOS chip. So what I am now is rewriting the BIOS on this airbag control module. And as with rewriting a BIOS on your computer, it takes maybe a minute, maybe 90 seconds. So you can see it's currently up to 70%. So we'll just wait for that. It'll finish writing and then it'll verify. So just patiently hang by. All right, we're in the 90s now, 97, 98, 99, 100, and verified. And the verified is cleared. So I've now written that binary file to that chip. Now what I'm going to do, just to check my work, I'm going to go File, Save As, same today's date, but instead of calling it crashed, I'm going to call it Verify. Okay, click Save, and now on Prog, I'm going to go back. I'm going to click Browse. I'm going to select that file that I called Verify, and I'm going to analyze it, and we're hoping it's going to say I didn't find a crash. Okay, so analyze, check it out. Okay, crash not found. So I have now cleared that crash. I have now written that to this BIOS chip. So my work here is now done, so I can take that clip off. I can put this component back into its case, and I can put that into a car that has the airbags replaced, and it would work. So that's how you do it. It's a difficult thing, I think, for most people to learn how to do, because it requires you to have a real good understanding of automotive and electronics and just an unusual mind. But I have worked it out, and it's my joy to share it with you. So thank you for watching. It was my pleasure to show you how to do that. If you've enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. I absolutely love hearing from you guys. So in the comments, please tell me what you've done with your EEPROMs, whether you've cleared your airbag control modules or not. Write me a comment. Tell me what country you're from. I absolutely love hearing from you, and I can't wait to do more videos for you. All right, thanks from Paul in Perth. See you later.